KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust. Serving Micronesia since 1938, Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, the governor soon set to decide whether to extend the public health emergency again, but senators focus on putting an end to it from the session floor. Plus, a lawsuit to stop the Air Force from open burning and detonation near the Taragi Beach is tossed. Putahila Texan Saver Tidian outraged by the court's dismissal, saying the fight is far from over. And accused of multiple burglaries at public school properties, Guam police tracking down the man they believe is responsible.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado. Glad you could join us. Well, is it time to end the public health emergency? It's been 30 months since it was first declared, and senators will vote Friday on a proposed override of the governor's veto of a bill that would effectively end it. Nessa Lecanto reports.
And I'd like to discuss.
It was Senator Chris Duenas who called for the override of his vetoed bill.
Madam Speaker, several days ago, the President of the United States declared the pandemic is over.
And while the White House has tried to walk back the president's statement, during session Wednesday, Duenas and fellow Republican Frank Bloss Jr. said it begs the question, why are we still in a state of emergency?
There can be really maybe only one or two reasons. And that's not to have to do with the open government law and the pesky procurement requirements.
Because you want to keep the legislature out of doing its basic fiduciary responsibility of managing the purse strings of the government. And have been forced to fund measures that we had no say in its promulgation or in its enactment because it was done by executive order.
In the bigger picture, Duenas says many in the public have felt isolated and rebuffed by some of the governor's emergency policies.
There are teachers and critical care workers and others on our island, Madam Speaker, who have left the island or even left their professions because they were discriminated against, even till today.
He argues about the need for checks and balance and that the emergency power law has to be changed before the next time,
but that this body has a larger role in the event something god-awful like that would take place.
The vetoed bill would have required the governor to seek legislative approval to extend a public health emergency beyond the first 2 months. This will be the fourth time senators will vote on an override. For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The chief judge tossed the case, the federal lawsuit filed against the Air Force pushing for them to stop burning waste munitions near Taragi Beach on Anderson is dismissed today. The decision troubling for Putahila Texan Saver Tidian, who filed the lawsuit in the District Court of Guam, the group and their attorneys speaking exclusively with KUAM following today's loss in court.
Putahila Texan Saver Tidian's Monica Flores was on the beach at Anderson Air Force Base Tuesday.
Taragi was where my great-grandfather ranched right before the war. This is land that was taken from our family from eminent domain.
Flores alarmed at what she saw, capturing these images of pink smoke billowing into the air.
Watching that pink smoke rise up out of the jungle and have a long-lasting hover up toward the mountain, over the cliff. What we thought about was how this is impacting all the fish, how this is impacting our water, how this is impacting our air, and how this is going to impact all future generations that call Guam home.
The Air Force confirming with KUAM the explosive ordnance disposal flight assigned to the 36th Civil Engineering Squadron was conducting routine training yesterday. The pink smoke seen from Taragi Beach was due to standard smoke grenades used for training purposes. The military's burning and detonation activity ongoing, even as their permit application remains under review with the Guam Environmental Protection Agency. The Air Force wanted the court to dismiss the civil lawsuit, stating the federal court on Guam lacks jurisdiction.
The Air Force is relying on the fact that it has a pending permit application to continue to blow up bombs on the beach at Taragi.
David Henkin is Earth Justice Senior Attorney. Putehi Latexan and Earth Justice in court today, arguing for Chief Judge Francis Adenko Gatewood to deny the military's request, sharing the harm being caused. But she dismissed it, saying it appears the ball is really in Guam EPA's court.
We're obviously disappointed that the judge dismissed the case and basically let the Air Force off the hook in making a decision to continue very destructive activities on Taraga Beach. And the judge basically relieved the Air Force of that responsibility. So it's time for the people of Guam to let the Air Force and Guam EPA know that enough is enough.
Earth Justice Associate Attorney Tien Chow says letters were sent to Guam EPA this month. The group has been waiting for action since May of last year.
It has been the long-standing interpretation of the U.S. EPA that if the applicant for a permit to open burn and open detonate hazardous waste cannot show that open burning and open detonation are the only safe alternatives, then that permit must be denied, and it must be denied immediately. There are real on-the-ground consequences that occur.
Rachel Taimanao Zuzu is the attorney for Putehi Latexan.
The fight is not over. We are disappointed with the court's decision today, so we will have to come together and reevaluate and strategize and consider the options going forward. But it's not over for PLSR.
The plan for now is to appeal the court's dismissal as they wait for answers from the local EPA.
The fight's definitely not done. We're taking many avenues to try to stop this horrible practice from continuing to take place, and we want Guam EPA to take action now. Now, more than ever, we need Guam EPA to decide, and we want them to deny the permit.
We also asked Guam EPA what's the delay in deciding on the Air Force's application for the open burn and detonation permit. We await a response. Well, in other top news involving the military, there will be an even bigger ramp up in Defense Department construction spending in fiscal year 2023. Joint Region Marianas Commander Admiral Benjamin Nicholson made the announcement during the speech today before the Chamber of Commerce.
$1.2 to $2 billion of construction every year for the next 7 to 8 years. That is enormous. When you look at where the budgets are for construction in some other places, you might see a $2 billion project, but it's a one-time thing. It's awarded and that's it.
The projects, of course, are for the long-planned relocation of Marines from Okinawa to Guam. Construction is well underway at the Marine Corps Base Camp Blaz and Anderson Air Force Base. The Admiral says while the buildup will eventually end, it doesn't mean the spending will.
Those facilities will require maintenance workers. They will require custodial services. They will require all the things it takes to keep buildings and an organization operational. There will be civilian government jobs, but all of these people will need to be supported by goods and services in the communities outside the gates.
Admiral Nicholson says unlike years ago, uniformed personnel no longer perform most of the support services. Those services are now mostly contracted out by the private sector. And he urges the local business community to plan ahead for opportunities that will come when the Marines eventually move to Guam. A serial burglar is caught, police arresting the man they believe responsible for the rash of break-ins happening on public school properties. Daniel Perez reports.
Not once, not twice, but multiple times, PD resident Frank Borjas Nicholas Jr. is placed under arrest, accused of breaking into Jose Rios Middle School on numerous occasions this month alone. GPD says he also allegedly burglarized the Guam Department of Education's Emergency Food Assistance Program warehouse. It's there San Nicolas allegedly stole a variety of food items. These recent break-ins at these locations and elsewhere left school officials working overtime to sift through the damages. PD Mayor Jesse Alex says he's relieved a suspect has finally been captured.
Fortunately, we do know who he is. He is a resident of the village, and so the neighbors do know the individual, and they've seen him around. Despite security measures officials put in place to keep criminals off school property, Alex says sadly the break-ins just keep coming. I do know that the deputy superintendent did mention that there are plans to have a surveillance system, and so I'm grateful that they're considering that, because obviously there are there's a need for it. And so hopefully that will be a deterrence. There is an alarm system, I believe, at the school. I don't know if it is updated or if it continues to be used, but I recall at one point that there is an alarm system because we can hear it in the main village, the village proper. The issue really with Jose Rios and the GDOA facilities warehouse is that it's isolated, and it's not, there are no living neighbors, so no one really can watch out for it.
San Nicolas also allegedly admitted to breaking into a residence in the village on a separate occasion, again stealing food. Detectives have since found the stolen items. San Nicolas faces 13 counts of burglary, criminal mischief, and crimes against the community. He remains locked up at the Department of Corrections. Daniel Perez, KUAM News.
Well, a 15-year-old girl is safe after being attacked by a man known to her at the bus area of Paseo in Hyundai early today. A Guam police officer doing physical training there was flagged down by another child and caught the suspect. Authorities say 43-year-old Craig Chagina Brewer arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault, family violence, and child abuse. Police say Brewer used a butane can, allegedly hitting the child in the head. She was treated on site for her injuries. Brewer's criminal history goes back 2 decades, where he was arrested multiple times on separate charges of theft, rioting, child abuse, assault on a peace officer, and terrorizing. Still to come on your news leader, a hike on your water bills kicks in this weekend, and the Visitors Bureau reconnects with Guamanian stateside. That and more when we return.
Half a day. I'm Eddie Calvo, and I've had the good fortune of knowing and working with attorney Tom Fisher for several years. Tom is a highly intelligent man who knows the law, and he's very serious and mission-driven. And he's focused on getting things done right, and he doesn't waste time. Smart, determined, and efficient, and that's exactly what we need in the legislature. Please vote for Thomas Fisher for senator.
I'm Tom Fisher, and I approve this message.
Half a day. I'm Kelina from Doc's Kitty College.
And I'm Kristen from Doc's Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The governor's child care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the governor's child care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
We have to all work together because we do need to deter crime. We do need to decrease crime.
There's a lot of news coming out, rape cases, children. It's so hard to believe.
I'm Felix Camacho, and I approve this message.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Welcome back. Typhoon Nora blew out of the northern Philippines Monday, leaving 5 rescuers dead, causing floods and power outages, and forcing officials to suspend classes and government work in the capital and outlying provinces. The most powerful typhoon to hit the country this year slammed into the coast in Berrios Town in Quezon Province before nightfall on Sunday, then weakened as it barreled overnight across the main Luzon region. The 5 rescuers, who were using a boat to help residents trapped in floodwaters, were hit by a collapsed wall, then apparently drowned in the rampaging waters. More than 17,000 people were moved to emergency shelters, and more than 3,000 people were evacuated to safety in Metro Manila, which was lashed by fierce wind and rain overnight. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio issuing a joint statement today saying, quote, "We know the incredible resiliency of the Philippine people. We are confident that the spirit of the Bayanihan will carry their country through this tragedy, and they will continue to have a friend in Guam and the many generous communities here that have historically supported the Philippine relief efforts." Well, a new 5.5% water rate hike goes into effect on Saturday, the start of the new fiscal year. The increase was approved by the Public Utilities Commission last week. It was discussed again during last night's Consolidated Commission on Utilities meeting, and the CCU approved GWA's fiscal year 2023 budget. But General Manager Miguel Berdalio says the rate relief won't cover all of GWA's projected operational and capital improvement needs.
But it's important to note that because we missed a year and because we have what was granted to us in rate relief was less than what we projected we needed to keep our heads above water, we're drawing off of reserves.
Was for 20% of the
GWA is in the fourth year of a 5-year rate plan increase. As Berdalio noted, the PUC denied an increase last fiscal year. Meanwhile, Commissioner Simon Sanchez says it's important that they explain to ratepayers where the money's going.
You want us to fix leaks? Okay. Pipes aren't free. Fixing leaks isn't free. Addressing water loss isn't free, but we've got a great plan to do it. And some of the rate relief we seek is to fund those solutions. We all know we're going to continue to borrow more money for GWA to continue to fix an aging system. And while we've done so much on wastewater, now a lot of our focus will turn to the water loss challenge, right?
GWA has been approved for another 5.5% rate hike next fiscal year. Well, over in the Northern Marianas, a service member and head of the local Veterans Affairs Office on Saipan says enough is enough. Stanley Jacopo resigned from his post this week and speaks exclusively with regional correspondent Tomas Menglotnya. He says NMI Governor Torres does not support veterans.
After 4 years at the helm of the local VA, Stanley Jacopo tendered his resignation on Monday, writing to CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, "It has become apparent that we no longer share the same values."
This is not his office. This is the Veterans Office.
He wrote to the governor, "I cannot in good conscience align myself with a governor who does not support veterans."
What broke the camel's back for me was I went on a tour and I came back and he disapproved my military leave. So that was the epitome of my decision. And then and then on top of that was the veterans were still trying to work towards in pushing for the services for the veterans and their families. And I feel that he was not able to support our veterans and our families and support me and support my office.
His calls for meetings to discuss issues and brief the governor on federal talks were left unanswered.
And I've been asking to meet with him.
And you said for 4 years you've been asking?
Yes, I have not seen him. I have not met him for all this time to right here, just 5 minutes. There are times where I ask, I just need 5 minutes. I just need 10 minutes. I mean, 30 minutes was like asking for the world.
We spoke with him at the American Memorial Park, where memorials stand in tribute to the sacrifice of U.S. servicemen. He says the work is a critical mission that he continues to uphold with more than 2 decades in the U.S. Air Force.
Last Veterans Day I was here. And in my speech, I spent some time here. And I went through all the names, right? I look at all the names, and then that last Veterans Day last year, I said to myself, we don't do enough, nobody. These names and their families, right? We're not doing enough.
He wants veterans to know.
Please forgive me if it seemed like I left my post. I did not. I will never leave my post. I don't need to be an executive director. I don't need to be an executive officer, sit up there in the office to say, I'm going to help you.
Governor Torres has not named his replacement, but KUAM asked the governor about the resignation.
I don't want to go into Stanley's personal issues, and I'll just leave it at that for now. All I know is I want to thank him for his service.
Tomas Maglonia for KUAM News on Saipan.
Reconnecting with our Guam community thousands of miles away, the Guam Visitors Bureau sending photos taken at the 28th Pacific Islander Festival held in Ski Beach in San Diego, California. You can see some familiar faces there. More than 300,000 Pacific Islanders gathered, showcasing the cultures and values of the indigenous people of the Pacific. GVB President Carl Gutierrez saying we are making a diligent effort to build up our North America market by reconnecting with the Guamanian diaspora and our extended family, friends and military families that are linked to the islands. Meetings included the sons and daughters of Guam Club members and members with the House of the Chamorros. World Sports is next. Keep it here.
Hafaday Guam, this is Chetlu the Cocoa Bird. Chetlu wants to give you some tips on keeping you, your pets, and your home safe from brown tree snakes. 1. Keep doors and screens closed at night. 2. Check window screens for any holes and gaps. 3. Use a 1/4 inch mesh to cover openings to the home, such as dryer vents and toilet vents. 4. Store garbage and food in closed containers to reduce food sources for brown tree snakes. 5. Keep yard clear to reduce hiding spaces for snakes and their prey. And 6. Trim back vegetation from your rooftop. These are simple tips to keep you safe from brown tree snakes. Remember, Guam, snake suppression supports our ecosystem, our economy, and our home. Contra y Culepla. Challenge the snake.
And there you have it, McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich. From the makers of the world's most stolen fries. The juicy chicken sandwich from the place that offers extra napkins for a reason. The tender chicken sandwich from the creators of a sandwich phenomenon. So you won't just be biting into a chicken sandwich, you'll be biting into McDonald's new crispy, juicy, tender chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The all-new Hyundai Tucson.
When we face an uncertain path, when we struggle with life's challenges, and when the unexpected happens, it's a beautiful day. We rely on the people we trust, it's a beautiful, who we can always count on, beautiful day. And to the ones who give us the most care throughout the years. Rely on Calvo's Select Care to give you the comfort and security you need. It's a beautiful day. Wherever you are. Gov Guam employees, retirees, and survivors enroll today.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You've said this before, and you're like, I mean, you obviously, are proud to be Guamanian, and you know how much homegrown talent there is here. But there's a lot of guys that can play, in Palau. They've got a rich history of baseball. Saipan has an amazing crop of talent, and you're trying to actually bring them into the fold so that they can wear Triton green and represent us here too.
Yes, man, I got to give these guys, a lot of love and a lot of props because, they're not from our island, but they are willing to do what it takes to come and put our island on their chest as far as the University of Guam Tritons goes, so I admire that very much. The fact that they'll even put aside the pride of, being from another island just to play the sport they love. And they're passionate about, and I support that so much because you're right. The baseball is our fluent we speak the same language when it comes to baseball. Like that's our connection. That's where we are bonded, is through the competitiveness and the love for the game of baseball.
Yep.
So you're right. A lot of ball players in Palau, a lot of ball players in Saipan, Pohnpei, all over the Micronesia. And, why not give them an opportunity to further their education too as well, while they're playing the game and the sport they love.
Yeah.
So
you may
yes,
get
I'm
kids
definitely reaching out to our neighboring islands. I recruited Saipan.
Right. Yeah. You may get student athletes who, maybe, the chemistry majors don't normally, hang out with, the business majors or the education majors. But, you talk about turning a 6-4-3 double play, and that's, a universal message that everybody's on board with.
Definitely. And it's a beautiful thing to see when you have Saipanese, a Palauan, and a Chamorro doing a 6-4-3 double play. It's beautiful.
Final question, Coach. What, for people that may be watching this right now, what do you say is the signature style of Guamanian baseball? Are we more offensively aggressive? Are we really, really good at small ball? Can we adapt to different styles of play and everything like that? What makes Guam baseball so distinct?
We have a lot of heart when it comes to it. So whether it's power or speed, that is our heart. It measures more than that. We love this game so much that it's tradition. It's passed down to generations in our family because we love it so much.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hafaday, this is Senator Amanda Shelton, the chair of the Committee on the Advancement of Youth. The nomination period for the 34th Guam Youth Congress is now open. Elections will be held on October 17, 2022. The Guam Youth Congress is a youth legislative body that serves as a training and action ground for Guam's young leaders. The Youth Congress is full of young people striving to make a difference for their peers and our island. The Guam Youth Congress is open to all young people from villages, middle and high schools, the Guam Community College, and the University of Guam. If you are between the ages of 14 to 24, interested in representing your school or village, and want to participate in the voting process, please contact my office at 989-2572 or reach out to your village mayor or school administrator. We need your voice in the Guam Youth Congress. Siduus Ma'asi.
Paid for by the Committee on Higher Education and Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens.
I want my streaming. I want my TV. Ooh! Streaming TV. Switch between live TV and your favorite streaming apps with DTV Plus from Docomo Pacific. Watch your shows in multiple devices all at the same time, all from your home Wi-Fi. No cable lines, no hassle, more savings for only $35 a month with your Link bundle. DTV Plus, your cable TV on Wi-Fi. Ooh, streaming TV.
All that melty cheese you crave with double the steak is back at Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito.
Welcome back. We wrap up the show with your birthday shoutouts. Here's Jason Salas.
Happy birthday number 9 to Matt and Jace Taidigui. Happy birthday to Matt and Jace. Your entire family is very, very proud. They love you with all their heart and they're sending you the very, very best. And they're wishing you, as we at KUAM and Cold Stone Creamery are, a very, very happy birthday all day long. Nat and Jace, today is your birthday and we wish you the best.
You can be a part of our Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by checking out KUAM.com. And that's our show. Thank you and please stay safe, Guam. I'm Nick Delgado. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Lecanto, and our guest this week is the General Manager of the Guam Power Authority, Mr. John Benavente. John, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Lester. Thank you for inviting me, and hello to everyone.
You are in the midst right now of getting approval from the CCU and the PUC of the renewable energy plan that would add another 180 megawatts to the future island-wide power system. Can you tell us, first of all, just to summarize what that energy plan is all about?
First of all, we do have a Guam Clean Energy Plan, which is, again, to reduce your rates of the consumers by 2024, 2025 by the completion of the Ukudu power plant. That's the first step and the cornerstone of the plan. In addition to that, we had about 170 megawatts of new renewables that we contracted for. And the first one was the KEPCO 60 megawatt, which is on the line. The next one was another 60 megawatt with Hanwha that was going to have to put a transmission line all the way from Dandan all the way to PD. And so that is not on the line. It had issues getting it together. Costs are way up now, and it appears that they may not be able to do that project. And then the third one, of course, is the one on Navy base. And this is where, again, the meeting was long yesterday because I tried to address all the different things that we need to address if we are going to be successful and get the lowest rates for consumers on the island. So there's a case where we had a protest, no? We won the protest with the OPA, and then they went to the Superior Court. We won the protest with the Superior Court. So we won the battle but lost the war because by that time, with all the pandemic, inflationary costs, supply chain costs, the proponent no longer wanted to do the project. So what did that mean for us, Lester? That's a minimum of $5 million a year savings for the consumer. Times 25 years, that's a $75 million loss because of the procurement process that allows people to protest without any penalty or any skin in the game. The only skin in the game is the ratepayers, 75 million, which they won, but they lost. So we got to address that because, again, we are going to, we're mandated to go to 50%, 100% renewables. Not at any cost, we are going at low cost, right? But to achieve that, we have to change the laws that will allow us to effectively make that happen in the best interest of the ratepayers. So, okay, so we're losing 110 megawatt, no? So there was also earlier this year, you recall, GPA got the PUC and CCU to approve our plan to go to 50% renewable by 2030. And that plan said, the integrated resource plan said we'll need 400 megawatts of renewables by 2030 to get to 50%. So, okay, so now we lost 110. I'm thinking we still have that, we still want to get this low-cost energy on the line as soon as possible. So that's when I took 180 out of the 400 and say, okay, let me proceed further in getting this because already we're, as best as we could, we contracted. It wasn't, it looks like it's not going to be for, except for the 60 megawatt that was completed. The others faltered, so therefore we adjust the plan. So that's where we are now. We're going for 180 megawatt because transmission lines are still needed in this process to make it happen. So it's still going to be a challenge, but once they come in, then that would allow us to again put more renewables at a cheaper cost because of the transmission, the infrastructure are more able to accommodate that. So yes, this 180 really, the plan has been approved. Now I'm saying, here are the procurement documents. I want to go out as soon as possible. So I'm hoping the PUC approves it in October. CCU approved it this Tuesday. PUC approves it in October. And then we're out in the street in November because it's going to take like about 9 months to get a contract, because it's about a $200 million contract for every 60 megawatt. So you're talking about this 180 megawatt to be about $500 million or more contract. But that may scare people. Oh, we're going to spend $500 million. So of course, we're going to spend $500 million to save substantially even more than that. See, so oil to jobs. We're going to get away from oil to jobs. So just one more case, maybe that will hit people, let people understand more. Each of the 60 megawatt will reduce the annual consumption of fuel by as much as 200,000 barrels a year. So that's 600,000 barrels of oil that we don't have to import. That 600,000 barrels of oil is going to pay for the infrastructure and still reduce the cost of energy for everyone. So that's why we're hot to trot. We want to make it out. There's other parts of my presentation that say, okay, I want to start looking and developing rooftop potentials on the island. By looking at rooftop potential, I want to go out and aggregate amounts so I can take advantage of economies of scale for the benefit of, for example, the DOE, just the residential commercial consumers on the island, maybe the ancestral and Tomorrowland that have all this property that is not doing anything, maybe leasing out a portion of it for 25 years, use that revenue to put infrastructure in other areas. So there's a lot that there's a lot of opportunities that's going to come out with this oil to job scenario by heading to renewables. So I'm laying out a plan for us to develop programs to make that happen. But the key one that's going to save us is the utility scale solar projects. And that's the one that we want to proceed with now. In addition to that, and again, I'm trying to summarize everything that I said last night, right?
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Umatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member, but I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Lou and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff were so understanding and compassionate, they helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the Relief Center. They are there to help.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Attention contractors and future homeowners. Come and network with Guam's construction industry at the 2022 GCA Construction Industry Trade Fair and Expo, happening September 29th and 30th at the FD Phoenix Center in Manilao. Doors open from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. on both days, and admission is free. With over 50 exhibitors, your time will be well spent looking at new products and services, whether you're a contractor or future homeowner. For more information, contact GCA at 671-647-4840.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Let me ask you about the utility scale, because you mentioned the rooftop and trying to identify space, but utility scale solar is very land intensive. Do we have enough room on this limited island space that we have?
I figured we've analyzed all of that, no? And I figured that there's at least the capacity for 1,500 megawatts on unutilized land, no? And if you look around the Landry area, a lot of these land areas are in areas that one may not have, it's not going to develop in terms, most in the south or whatever, unless, we just run out of land on the island. In addition to that, I looked at the capacity of rooftop solars and made that's about another 300 megawatts possible. So that's already almost 1800. And I'm saying in my presentation, I said, we need 400 megawatts to get to 50%, another 500 to get to 100%. That's 900 megawatts. We have more than 1,000 megawatt capacity on this island to still make it happen and still be able to have the regular need, land areas to have the regular needs of the consumer. So the answer to that is yes, we can still do it. And again, utility scale brings us the lowest and lowers the risk of everyone because again, we don't own the utility scale at this point. Maybe at some point in the future when we get there's an incentive for even municipal utilities or public utilities like us to get credit. So if we bought a certain amount of solar farm, I think as much as 30% of that cost could be credited back to the federal government. So that's a work in progress that we're waiting to see how the regulations roll out. But again, right now, we put all the risk and burden on the power purchase agreement, who still owns the facility after 25 years. Because then what are we going to do with all the panels and the batteries and everything? That's still a question that's not totally understood, if you will, at this point. No?
Yeah. John, you're also proposing financing some of these projects through a great $300 million green bond. Can you explain what that is?
Yes. In the integrated resource plan, it looked at to get to 50% renewable or 100% at the most, but to get to 100%, we have to at least prepare the infrastructure to get to 50%. If we do that, 100% is achievable. However, you can't just plug and play here in the grid. You can't just put in solar anywhere you want to and expect your power to be on or stay on, right? So if you look at the integrated resource plan, it identified about $230 million of investment into the system to be able to ensure that we have reliable and sustained resilient power. In addition to that, I'm looking at if we put in transmission line in certain key areas of the island, we can now facilitate lower cost energy utility scale. Because right now, again, even part of the 180, they're going to have to estimate what it costs to put in the transmission line. And again, sometimes that's our core business. So if down the road we can do that core business by having the funding and preparing the rest of the system to accommodate renewables, then we can again lower the cost for the consumer. So that's 300 plus 230 is about 500, and there's some duplication of the cost. Some are already in the 230, if you will. So that's why I was saying we need to proceed with at least 300 million bonding authority, meaning we have to go to the legislature to get approval for us to go out for bonds. That's the first step. Once we do that, we're at the same time we're aggregating which upgrades must go first, no? So we're going to do that, and then there's also a substantial amount of federal grants out there. But if you go over and say, hey, I need $130 million for battery, not everybody's going to be jumping to give you $130 million, right, for just this small island. But if we go in and say, okay, I already am going to put in 75 million for half of that battery, will you match that with a $75 million of your program? So that has been successful, and that appears to be the formula to make things happen and get higher and bigger federal grants. We did that in 2012 when we put in the smart grid for the island. We've invested $16 million in bonds, and the federal government gave us $16 million, and that's why we had smart grid already since 2013. Even smart grid that Hawaii doesn't have today. So what we're going to do now is hell or high water, we have to put this investment in to get the savings from the renewables. But at the same time, we can leverage that with the federal, get more grants, which means our 300 million goes a further way, goes a longer way. But but I need to have all of these leverages. I need to have, if you see, it's a comprehensive plan as to how we're going to move forward to achieve the maximum savings. And again, I would like to note again, one might think, oh, we're putting in all this money. Is it really going to do what? Of course it will, because every barrel of oil is about $100 to $150. We're eliminating that and taking that money and putting it into infrastructure and low-cost energy and savings at the same time. See, so that's the whole process. That's the whole key. Is 180 megawatts. 2, let me have bonding authority. 3, help me set the regulations on the island so that protest has, they have to have ante in the game to really protest. And because I can give you many cases on point where even a current contract, someone bids lower, we cannot award it to the lower cost because there's some protest that takes a year or 2 to go away. So therefore, it costs us that much more money because of the regulation. But the renewals is huge, So therefore, help me change the regulation, and then we're looking for grants, and then we're also developing rooftop solar programs because, we're known in this island, from what I hear, is that, oh, we're anti-solar. We're not anti-solar. We are trying to get the least cost solar for all the people, and that's the case in point in KEPCO here. This 60 megawatt solar is going all to the LEAC and is saving at today's rate $2 million a month, $24,000 $24 million a year to the LEAC. Otherwise, you would have been paying more. See, so, and then one more thing, Lester. There's also in the procurement regulations the issue of local preference of 15%. That local preference is, when you go to a renewable contract, is like $3.2 million a year times 25 years, $70 million for a local preference. That local preference should go to the community. So maybe we have to work out some arrangement as to how that, because that's not meant for renewable procurement, but it's a reality that's going to hurt us, no?
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
Nutrition can be difficult, but we make it easy and convenient.
It's always best to do it with a friend or a group to help keep you all motivated and in check.
We have a new 6-week group wellness program that is meant to help you to eat healthier and also to live a healthier lifestyle.
Eating healthy has so many benefits like weight loss, increased energy levels, improved overall health, less doctor visits, and less money spent on medication.
So if you want to start eating healthier and you have a group of people that want to as well, come see us. Our program includes meals for 7 days a week. It also includes pre and post assessments and a standardized meal plan.
We also provide nutrition coaching, so come check us out today. We make it easy for you to eat healthy.
Let's get nutritious.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
There is in the books, again, a local preference of 15% for a local, right? However, in a long-term procurement, high-cost procurement or renewable, for 1 year, a local preference, say 15% of a 15 cents per kilowatt hour energy bid. That translates about 2.5 cents per preference times 141 million kilowatt hours a year. That's $3.2 million. Times 25 years, that's about $70 million. So we're gonna, because there's a company, it's a local preference, the community is gonna give them $70 million. I don't think that's what it was meant to be. For example, if you're buying a computer for $1,000, right? So 10% of 1,000 is, or 15% of $1,000 is 150, no? So $150 one-time cost is very different than renewable procurement, which is annual for 25 years. So therefore, you can have some kind of local preference, but not the way it is today. But that's a reality, again, of another thing that we have to change to be able to make this thing happen. So we'll be asking the legislature to help us. They want us to do 50%, 100% renewable. Please help us, you know, because it's hard for me to stomach some of these things, if you will, if we're trying to save the consumer money, because they just don't, they're not, it's imbalance and it's skewed against the government. And really the government right now is for the ratepayers, no? I'm working for the ratepayers. I'm working for the community. So, you know, that's and that's how I translate it, right?
Yeah. Speaking of the legislation, real quick, just to go back to that, what sort of procurement reform are you seeking?
Yeah, I'm looking at procurement reform on protests and local preference to make that a reasonable amount, and basically those are the two things. Finding a way to see if we have a different model, maybe similar to what the military uses to be able to contract out, no? Using some model like that, which is more relevant to huge. I mean, each 60 megawatts is 200 million. You're talking about over $1 billion already of investment that we have to make. Several $1 billion of investment we have to make to achieve the mandate of 50 and 100%, which in any case, even if the mandate wasn't there, we would have looked for, because it's the way to save the consumer. Because at the end of the day, Nestor, and again, you can check the box on this in about 2 to 3 years. It's going to lower our cost of energy on the island, and it's going to make it affordable. And then it's going to make it sustainable, meaning the cost of energy is not going to be impacted significantly like it has been through all the years in 2008, when the fuel prices went up to $100 a barrel, 2013, and again in 2022. So we're going to get away from that and have a more stable, lower cost and stable energy cost, because the heads now, you heard about people, oh, we should have the hedges like this. The hedge now is the 1% escalator of the renewables. 8.5 cents today, 25 years from now, still about 10 cents. That's a huge difference now that will keep keep your power energy costs levelized, no? Now, one may say, okay, what other advantages are there? Anyone wanting to come in to do business in Guam, including major centers like data centers, they're afraid of energy costs. They're afraid that their energy costs will track the way our energy costs have been tracking. Not too long ago, we were at about 20 cents a kilowatt hour. Now we're at 39 cents a kilowatt hour because of world events. So by us being able to leverage all of this, hedge against all of this, and therefore now energy costs will be more consistent. That will now start to, in my mind and my understanding, attract more more industries like data centers to the island, because they energy costs go up. What do they have to do? They're not going to cut the dividends to their investors. They're going to cut labor. They're going to cut other costs. Nobody wants to do that. So I think we by tackling this energy issue with of the island for the benefit of our ratepayers, it also opens up other other opportunities for more industries, more jobs to come in. Oil to jobs. That's our whole trust with our clean energy plan. See.
Yeah.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Mobile offers a new and convenient way to fuel your vehicle. Pay gas and go. No need to line up inside the store. Press preset. Enter whole dollar amount without decimals. Press Loyalty ID and enter your mobile number or insert Smiles card. Insert and remove payment card or tap contactless credit card. Begin fueling. And don't forget to grab your receipt. Pay gas and go. It's that easy.
The all-new Hyundai Tucson.
The rising cost of living is affecting all of us on Guam. Our administration has expanded a program. We want to pay for your child's daycare up to $675 a month per child. This means more money in your pocket to pay for other expenses like the cost of gas and groceries. The Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is investing in Guam's future, and that starts by supporting our working families. We are all in this together, Guam.
This ad is paid for by government funds at the Office of the Governor and the Department of Public Health and Social Services.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Also related to the renewable energy is the Navy recently came out with a release indicating its continued support of a renewable energy partnership with GPA. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, I mean, if in 2018 or 2019 when we were ready to award to NG this contract on Navy base, 164 acres, which they considered excess at the time to them, and that will be beneficial to put in renewables into it, so that for the benefit of both the community and the military, because the LEAG is also, the military is about a 20% customer. So whatever we do with the LEAC to lower the cost, make it sustainable, and they also get a 20% advantage. So, and it's easier, instead of them doing it, it's better that the utility does it, because again, that's our core business, right? And that way the savings is shared with everyone. But of course, after 2 years, things have changed, no? We haven't dug a shovel in the ground yet, if you will. And what has happened is Indochina started, over the past 2 years, started really having this issue with